आई थिंक सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि आपने एक होता है ना नींद त्याग दी, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी ग्रेट थिंग आयुष हैज सेड टू यू गाइस। आसान क्वेश्चन तो हेलो ऑल, सो गाइस टुडे वी हैव विद दिस मिस्टर आयुष, जिन्होंने अभी नाबार्ड ग्रेड एग्जामिनेशन क्लियर किया है। अगर मैं इनके बारे में बोलूँ, देखिए इनके बारे में दो चीज़ें सबसे खास हैं। एक तो ही इज़ डन इज ग्रेजुएशन इन प्रोडक्ट डिज़ाइनिंग, जो कि शायद मैकेनिकल का एक सब फील्ड होता है, और उससे इन्होंने बाकी एग्ज़ाम्स को भी ट्राई किया, बट फाइनली ही फेल्ट दैट नाबार्ड इज़ वन थिंग, जो कि शायद एग्ज़ाम इनके लिए बना है। और दूसरी इनकी जो जर्नी में सबसे खास चीज़ है, जब आप इनका इंटरव्यू देखोगे, नोट्स मेकिंग हम बहुत कॉमनली बोलते हैं कि नोट्स बनाने चाहिए, बट वो नोट्स बनाने कैसे चाहिए और कितना इन डेप्थ एनालिसिस करके नोट्स बेटर बनते हैं, आई थिंक वो ये बहुत अच्छा इन्होंने समझाया है। तो दैट इज़ वन थिंग आई थिंक वी शुड ऑल क्लैप फॉर हिम, बिकॉज वो एक ऐसा चीज़ है जो जो हम जनरली बात कर देते हैं। हम भी अगर किसी एग्ज़ाम की बात करते हैं कि नोट्स बना लो, बट वो बनाने कैसे हैं वो शायद हमें इनसे सीखना चाहिए, कितने बेटर हम नोट्स बना सकते हैं। सो वेलकम आयुष। एंड किसी को कोई चीज़, इफ एनीवन हैज टू आस्क समथिंग टू हिम, प्लीज फ्री गाइस।
इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड पे हुआ है ना, और नोट्स मतलब बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट होता है इंजीनियर अच्छे बनाना।
यस सर।
हमें वो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड की राइट हैंड साइड की ज़्यादा हो रखी होती है। तो एग्रीकल्चर सब्जेक्ट, इकोनॉमिक्स जैसा सब्जेक्ट, उसके नोट्स आपने किस तरीके से प्लान किए थे?
यस सर, जैसे आपने सर बोला इंजीनियरिंग, तो इंजीनियरिंग का मतलब ही होता है प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग। दिस इज़ द प्रॉब्लम, वी हैव टू मेक नोट्स। सो आई स्टार्टेड कि हाँ ओके, आई हैव टू, इफ़ आई हैव टू मेक नोट्स, आई विल नॉट कट पेस्ट एनीथिंग। लाइक जैसे होता है जनरली नोट्स बनाने में लोग स्निपिंग टूल यूज करते हैं, दे स्निप द टूल, यूज़ द कट एंड जस्ट पेस्ट इट देयर, बट वो काम नहीं करता है। इफ़ यू वांट टू वर्क इन योर माइंड, यू हैव टू राइट दोज थिंग्स मैनुअली इन कीवर्ड, ताकि वो फिर आपके बैक ऑफ माइंड में वो मेमोराइज हो पाता है। So I make sure that anything which I am making notes, whether it's interview, annual report, pre-objective, mains, descriptive, anything, I have to write it manually. मेरे को 1.5 month लगे, मेरे को 2 months लगे, that's fine, that's completely fine, but I have to write it manually because then I will use it to memorize it. Back of the mind में वो याद होते जाएगा मेरे को। Yes sir.
सर हमारा पेपर डिस्क्रिप्टिव जो है वो टाइपिंग वाला है ना, हमें वहाँ पे आंसर राइटिंग टाइपिंग करके करनी है। तो आपको लगा कि अगर मैं नोट्स ऑनलाइन बनाऊँ तो मेरी टाइपिंग स्पीड भी अच्छी हो जाएगी और एग्जाम में बेनिफिट करेगा?
यस सर, ये भी दी आर द साइड बेनिफिट ऑफ मेकिंग नोट्स, कि आप ये कर रहे हैं तो आपका हो जा रहा है इम्प्रूव, बिकॉज एक्चुअली हुआ भी। लास्ट ईयर आई टाइप्ड अराउंड 1850 वर्ड्स, दिस ईयर आई टाइप्ड अराउंड 1930 वर्ड्स आउट ऑफ 2000। लाइक मेरे ख़त्म हो गया था, आई हैव टू कम बैक टू द आंसर एंड आई हैव टू राइट समथिंग कंक्लूजन या समथिंग कि और बेटर कर सकें, उतना आई हैव टाइम दैट मच। तो ये सब वो हेल्प करता है बैक ऑफ द माइंड वो।
Anyone else who wants to ask something?
एग्रीकल्चर एज सब्जेक्ट आपने कैसे टैकल किया? आप इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड से फिर एग्रीकल्चर एकदम भारी होगा तो
मतलब सर एक्चुअली काइंड ऑफ, क्योंकि वो होता है ना कि आप कुछ तो जानते ही हैं उसका। इफ़ देयर इज समथिंग लाइक राइस एंड वीट एंड एनिमल्स और नाइट्रोजन एंड फर्टिलाइजर, आप जानते तो हो ही। ऑल यू टू डू इज सम डेप्थ एनालिसिस, तो उतना वो मुश्किल नहीं होता है। ऑल यू नीड टू डू इज रिवीजन। तो आई यूज टू डू दैट थिंग ओनली, कि अगर मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता है तो आई विल डू सम गूगल सर्च। अगर मेरे को कोई कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में नहीं आया, मेरे को कोई ब्रीड समझ में नहीं आया, तो इफ़ आई एम रीडिंग फ्रॉम EduTap, आई कैन यूज अनदर सोर्स। फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो TNO की वेबसाइट है, तो आई कैन रेफर कि सिकल सेप्ट होती हैं तो कौन से एनिमल हो सकता है, इफ देयर इज सम नाइट्रोजन और क्या उससे क्या फर्टिलाइजर, उससे क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है। तो आई कैन यूज दोज गूगल दोज थिंग्स एक्चुअली। तो वो मैं करते थे कि आई विल ट्राई टू गूगल दैट थिंग, ताकि फिर मेरे को बैक ऑफ द माइंड वो भी याद हो पाए और प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम्पल्स उसको हम कोरिलेट कर पाएँ, तो बेटर तरीके से हो पाता है। इफ़ आई कैन कोरिलेट विद दैट सम प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम्पल्स। यस सर।
आपकी जर्नी काफ़ी लंबी रही है, तो कभी है कि मतलब ये नहीं हो पा रहा है एग्जाम में, डाउन साइड आ रहा है ऐसा कुछ?
हाँ सर, लाइक आफ्टर एवरी 3 weeks ऑलमोस्ट आते ही थे ऐसे। आई यूज टू गेट द थॉट कि MS कर लो, बाहर चले जाओ। फिर लगा कि यार आई एम एन इंजीनियर, आई हैव टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम, दिस इज़ द प्रॉब्लम विच आई हैव, आई एम फेलिंग इन। मतलब ऐसा हो गया था सर कि आफ्टर फेलिंग इन लास्ट ईयर नाबार्ड ना, एटलीस्ट आई थॉट कि एटलीस्ट आई एम क्लियरिंग प्रीलिम्स, लाइक फॉरगेट मेंस और इंटरव्यू और फाइनल एग्जाम, एटलीस्ट आई एम क्लियरिंग प्रीलिम्स ओनली, बिकॉज आई वाज नॉट बीइंग एबल टू क्लियर प्रीलिम्स इन UPSC, स्टेट PSC. CB was the first exam which I cleared prelims. I thought कि okay, either I have some scope, आई कैन डू दैट थिंग। तो ये सब एक्सप्लोर करने पर वो मिल जाता है, फिर हो गया सर वो।
आयुष, ये कुछ टोकन ऑफ लव है हमारी तरफ से, ये बुक्स आपके लिए।
थैंक यू सो
आई
मच।
थिंक यू आर फॉन्ड ऑफ, जैसे आपने इसके नोट्स बनाए, आई थिंक मुझे लगता है आप इसके भी बना ही लोगे।
यस सर।
और ये एक प्लांट आपके लिए, आप जहाँ पे भी जाओगे,
Thank you so much, sir.
लाइक अ विश फॉर फ्रॉम आवर साइड।
थैंक यू सो मच।
और ये एक अचीवर्स बैच है जो हम दे रहे हैं, जो भी अचीवर्स हैं, तो दिस इज़ अ गेम।
यस सर, एंड फिर सॉर्ट ऑफ हैंड।
नो सर, ये मैं इधर रख देता हूँ।
EduTap की हेल्प करी आपकी प्रिपरेशन में?
यस सर, एनीथिंग लाइक कि वो QR हो गया, तो इन QR में विष्णु सर वाज देयर, तो वो उनके मैराथन सेशन हो गए, PYQ सेशन हो गए, यूज टू गिव एग्जांपल्स, लाइक वो टाइम देते थे, गिव 3 minutes of time for solving quant and reasoning. तो आई यूज टू सॉल्व इन दैट टाइम ओनली, लाइक आई डोंट यूज टू स्किप और फास्ट फॉरवर्ड, कि मेरे को टाइम है, उस टाइम आई विल सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम, दैट्स इट, वो हो गया। क्वांट रीजनिंग में निकल गया। डिसीजन मेकिंग इन कंप्यूटर, आई थिंक जलज सर इज नॉट देयर,
भाई नहीं।
हाँ, जलज सर वॉज देयर फॉर डिसीजन मेकिंग इन कंप्यूटर, लाइक उनके PYQ एंड एवरीथिंग, वो कौन, क्योंकि वो था कि ही यूज टू डिटेल द कॉन्सेप्ट बिहाइंड दैट थिंग, कि इफ ही वाज सेइंग समथिंग अबाउट दैट, तो कॉन्सेप्ट बताते थे वो, एंड वो काफ़ी काम आए एग्जाम्स में। लाइक आई रिमेंबर इन कंप्यूटर देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन ऑन CPU, और उसके 4 बड़े बड़े ऑप्शन थे उसके, लाइक CPU इज अ पेरिफेरल डिवाइस एंड CPU हैज अ मल्टीपल प्रोसेसर, वैसे करके सिंगल प्रोसेसर, उसमें फॉल्स स्टेटमेंट ढूंढने थे, और वो 4 में 2 स्टेटमेंट गलत थे। वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा होता है, मोस्टली लोग ऑल ट्रू करते हैं, तो वो कॉन्सेप्ट काफ़ी हेल्पफुल हुआ। डिसीजन मेकिंग में अगेन सर वो काफ़ी कॉन्सेप्चुअली बताते थे, तो अगेन दैट हेल्प। ARD तो समरी सीट, इट वाज लाइक आई सेड इन इंटरव्यू ऑल्सो दैट्स लाइक अ बाइबल थिंग, अगर आप पढ़ लिए। इवन इन RBI ऑल्सो सर, आई यूज टू लाइक व्हेन आई यूज टू स्टडी, तो FM के लिए बस दैट्स थिंग ओनली, कि मेरे को FM में बस वो समरी सीट से ही पढ़ना है, तो EduTap उसके लिए तो बेस्ट था। देन अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट करंट अफेयर में स्कीम टैप, वो तो लाइक सारे हमारे ग्रुप के जो पीए मेंबर्स थे, सारे लोग पढ़ते थे, वो 15 लोग हैं, तो सारे लोग स्कीम टैप ही पढ़ रहे हैं उसको, और हम लोग क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते थे, फिर उसका अलग अलग स्कीम्स के उसके क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते थे। स्कीम टैप हो गया, फिर RBI के लिए RBI टाइप वगैरह हो गया, तो दैट थिंग वी यूज्ड एक्सटेंसिवली। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सर इंग्लिश सर, तो इंग्लिश में भी वो काफ़ी हेल्पफुल रहा मेरे लिए, क्योंकि मतलब मेरे को ऐसा था कि आई यूज टू यूज दोज लाइन्स एग्जैक्टली इन द एग्जाम, कि द मैटर इज फॉर योर काइंड पर यूजल, तो मेरे को लगता है कि मेरे को लिखना ही लिखना है। इफ देयर इज अ लेटर आई हैव टू एंड दिस बाय द मैटर इज फॉर योर काइंड पर यूजल, दैट्स इट, उसको करना ही है। तो आई यूज टू मेमोराइज दोज थिंग्स, कि मेरे को अगर ये आएगा, एंड आई यूज टू वैल्यू दोज फीडबैक विच आई यूज टू गेट इन द टेस्ट सीरीज, कि ही यूज टू सेट की इंट्रोडक्शन में ट्राई टू गिव द डिटेल, कि उसमें ही आप दे दो कि हमारा सीरियल नंबर ये है, या जैसे कोई प्रॉब्लम्स है, जैसे इस बार प्रॉब्लम्स आए थे कि यू हैव टू राइट टू इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड, तो आई मेंशन स्टार्ट में इंट्रो में ही कि दिस इज माई मतलब रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर और समथिंग, इंट्रो में वो सब करने का, तो आई यूज दोज थिंग्स एक्चुअली। इवन माई डाउट सेशन वॉज ऑल्सो देयर विथ सर, उसमें आई यूज टू आस्क दोज क्वेश्चंस एक्चुअली, द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट ओके दिस थिंग्स वर देयर। इवन कृतिका मैम से भी आई हैड इंटरेक्शन ड्यूरिंग इंटरव्यू, लाइक आई यूज टू आस्क दैट हाउ यूज टू मेंटेन स्माइल एंड एवरीथिंग, फिर उसके बाद इतना स्माइल होने लगा कि इन सीरियस मोमेंट ऑल्सो आई यूज टू स्माइल, तो यस वो काफ़ी हेल्पफुल रहा सर, फ्रॉम ऑब्जेक्टिव टू इंटरव्यू।
आई थिंक आयुष यही रह गया आपका एक।
हाँ,
ठीक है।
थैंक यू सर। सर लास्ट ईयर आई गॉट 35 मार्क्स इंटरव्यू में, तो एंड 35 वाज हाईएस्ट इन पटना, और हाईएस्ट था तो किसी का सिलेक्शन भी नहीं हुआ, लाइक 0/18 था। इन बिहार 18 पीपल अपीयर्ड एंड 0 पीपल वर सेलेक्टेड, वो ऐसा एकदम मास वो हो गया, लाइक समथिंग लाइक जर्मनी थिंग, तो वो चीज़ हो गया था बिहार में पूरा वो। इस बार एटलीस्ट 4 पीपल लाइक हैव क्लियर्ड एक्चुअली, तो इस बार ये इंटरव्यू अच्छा था सर, लाइक वो चेयरपर्सन जब 4-5 क्वेश्चन वो पूछे सर कि लाइक एवरीथिंग अबाउट माई HR, एंड तो दैट वाज वेरी डिटेल आंसर, वो काफ़ी अच्छे आंसर थे, तो सी सेड गुड, तो व्हेन सी सेड गुड बोले कि ओके ठीक है, आई हैव द कॉन्फिडेंस, वो एक बार गुड बोलती है मेरे को, तो आई हैव द कॉन्फिडेंस, तो आई वाज एक्चुअली आंसरिंग कॉन्फिडेंटली एंड टू द पॉइंट, लाइक वाज नॉट आंसरिंग हेयर एंड देयर, कि क्लाइमेट प्रूफिंग पूछा तो आई एम आंसरिंग समथिंग प्रूफिंग, आई वाज लाइक एग्जैक्ट डेफिनेशन, एग्जैक्ट थिंग, एग्जैक्ट एग्जाम्पल्स, तो वो अच्छा था इंटरव्यू से। लाइक आई थॉट कि हाँ आफ्टर इंटरव्यू देयर कुड बी चांसेस कि हाँ ये हो जाएगा इस बार।
वो डर लग रहा वाली कहानी भी सुन।
So actually I had that RBI group of 15 members. So there was like before RBI last year in 2023, एक सेशन आया था अंचित सर एंड सर विष्णु सर कि इफ़ यू आर गेटिंग फेयर्ड एवरीवन इज गेटिंग फेयर्ड. और सर में ना सर वो उसमें वीडियो में ना लाइक ऐसे वो आँख उनके वाइड ओपन एंड ही वाज सेइंग डर लग रहा है क्या वैसा करके. और वो ट्रांजिशन वीडियो एडिटिंग में ऐसा हुआ था कि जो वीडियो एडिटिंग हुई थी ना तो उसमें ना लाइक व्हेन ही वाज सेइंग ना डर लग रहा है क्या, तो वो रेड कलर की समथिंग आ रही थी बट इट वाज लुकिंग लाइक ब्लड एक्चुअली. तो वो काइंड ऑफ इट वाज लाइक अ वेरी थ्रिलर काइंड ऑफ थिंग कि वो ब्लड आ रही है एंड ही वाज सेइंग वाइड ओपन डर लग रहा है क्या. तो आई पॉज दैट थिंग, आई टुक द स्निप टूल एंड आई मेड दैट प्रोफाइल पिक्चर ऑफ आवर ग्रुप. और अल्टीमेटली वो 15 मेंबर्स में अराउंड 12 मेंबर्स सही में फेल हो गए क्वांट रीजनिंग में. दैट वाज अ बैड मूव. उसके बाद फिर डीपी नहीं बनाई गई. हाँ सर, वो बैड ओमेन हो गया वहाँ पे.
ग्रेट यार. तो हेलो दोस्तों, गाइस वेलकम टू योर अनदर सक्सेस स्टोरी सेशन फॉर द नाबार्ड ग्रेड ए एस्पिरेंट्स. जैसा कि आपको पता है कि 2023 का रिजल्ट अभी आया है और आप में से बहुत स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे हैं जो कि वर्किंग एस्पिरेंट्स होंगे या फिर कुछ ऐसे पर्सपेक्टिव में काम कर रहे होंगे कि आपको टाइम बहुत कम मिलता है या फिर ऑड आवर्स में काम मिलता है. आप में से कुछ एस्पिरेंट्स ऐसे भी होंगे जो कि बहुत क्लोज आते हैं बट फिर भी उस एग्ज़ाम को क्लियर नहीं कर पाते. तो यार ये सेशन स्पेसिफिकली आप लोगों के लिए है, बिकॉज द पर्सन हु इज सिटिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी, यू विल बी सरप्राइज टू सी कि उनका EWS कैटेगरी में वेटिंग लिस्ट 1 था इन द एग्जामिनेशन ऑफ 2022, बट दैट वेटिंग लिस्ट ऑल्सो डज नॉट गॉट क्लियर्ड. और उन्होंने इस साल दोबारा उस एग्जाम को स्टार्टिंग से स्टार्ट किया. तो बहुत चीज़ें हम इस सेशन में डिस्कस करेंगे. स्टे टिल द एंड. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वेलकम आयुष टू दिस सेशन.
थैंक यू सो मच सर.
तो सबसे पहले स्टार्ट करते हैं, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बोला कि ऑड जॉब की हम बात करते हैं. तो आप प्रोडक्शन डिज़ाइनिंग में काम कर रहे थे हिंदुस्तान जिंक लिमिटेड में. सबसे पहले तो आप एस्टिमेट्स को यही बताइए कि जिस जॉब प्रोफाइल में आप काम कर रहे हो वो जॉब प्रोफाइल क्या होता है और ये फील्ड जो आपने चुनी ये एक्चुअली में फील्ड होती क्या है.
So actually, after my college placement, I got this job. So this was a maintenance engineering job. इसमें I used to do maintenance engineering, and it was a shift job. So it was a 6 days per week job, and it was a shift job. So usually I used to work in C shift. That was from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And in that I used to do maintenance engineering, and that was like one of the like profile of my job.
जैसे आपने बोला मेंटेनेंस इंजीनियरिंग का, थोड़ा सा मैं जानना चाहूँगा बिकॉज कुछ स्टूडेंट्स होंगे जिनको इस प्रोफाइल के बारे में ही कुछ नहीं पता. तो ये एक आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स प्रोफाइल है स्पेसिफिकली फॉर दोज एस्पिरेंट्स जो कि शायद ये सोचे कि अच्छा इस तरह की प्रोफाइल से भी नाबार्ड निकल सकता है. थोड़ा सा अगर मैं आप बोलूँ, थोड़ा सा आप इलैबोरेट कर दें इसके बारे में कि क्या रोल होता था आपने यहाँ पे.
सर एक्चुअली माई स्ट्रीम वाज प्रोडक्शन इंजीनियरिंग, सो इट वाज अ कोर प्लेसमेंट जॉब. सो देयर आर 2 things in that industry. One is process. So process engineers are run by chemical engineers who used to run the process, and we as a maintenance engineer, we used to do the maintenance, that if there is a breakdown or if a scheduled maintenance is there for the machines, so we used to ensure that thing. So that was the work profile of my job. It was a core it was a core production engineering job.
और जैसे कि आपने बोला कि आपकी शिफ्ट जो थी वो भी बिल्कुल ऑड आवर्स में, दैट्स द नाइट शिफ्ट.
Yes.
और बहुत स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे होंगे जो कहीं ना कहीं कॉल सेंटर्स में जॉब करते हैं या फिर कुछ ऐसे प्रोफाइल्स में जॉब करते हैं जिनका वर्क प्रोफाइल नाइट शिफ्ट में होता है. तो माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन टू यू इज़ हाउ यू मैनेज योर टाइम, बिकॉज इट्स कम्प्लीटली व्हेन नॉर्मल डेज में अगर हम किसी दिन रात को लेट सोते हैं तो नेक्स्ट डे पूरा स्केड्यूल हिल जाता है और आप तो कंसिस्टेंटली यू हैव टू गो टू द नाइट. तो क्या एक आपका वर्क स्केड्यूल होता था डेली का और आप कैसे अपनी पढ़ाई को मैनेज करते थे.
So actually, for example, let's say it was from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So 10 p.m. we used to have the dinner. So in dinner I used to sit separately, and I had installed OneNote in my phone. That was pre-installed in laptop also. So I used to make notes. I used to read PIB. That thing during the dinner only. Then during the commutation, when I used to go from work to my home, there again I used to read the newspaper, because my work used to complete by 6 a.m. and by 5 a.m. the newspaper used to come out. So I used to read the newspaper during the commutation or during the 6 a.m. or while waiting for the buses and transport. So that's how I used to manage the time in the workplace also. Like I can read the PIB and the newspaper, and then after this, I used to get 3 to 4 hours or 5 hours depending upon the location, depending upon the job. So I used to read for 4 to 5 hours, maybe in afternoon or maybe just before going again in the dinner. So that's how I managed my time.
आई थिंक सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ तो है कि आपने एक होता है ना नींद त्याग दी, वो
Yes,
तो मुझे लग रहा है आपने पूरी ही त्यागी हुई है, बिकॉज एक तो आप रात को काम कर रहे हो जिस टाइम लोग जनरली सोते हैं, सुबह उठ के भी आपने पूरा स्केड्यूल हेक्टिक रखा हुआ आपका। और अब इसके आगे बढ़ते हैं, व्हेन वी टॉक्ड अबाउट योर प्रोफाइल, आपका प्रोफाइल कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट है, बिकॉज जनरली अगर आप अपने कोर में सेटल्ड थे और आप अच्छी जॉब में भी सेटल्ड थे, सो एंड द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज आपने कहीं ना कहीं डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ एग्जामिनेशंस को टच भी किया है ड्यूरिंग योर प्रिपरेशन। तो मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे यही है कि व्हाट मेड यू थिंक अबाउट प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द गवर्नमेंट एग्जामिनेशंस, बिकॉज आप अपने कोर में थे, ऑब्वियसली जिस पर्सपेक्टिव में आपने पढ़ा है उसी पर्सपेक्टिव में आप काम भी कर रहे थे, और ऐसा अगर आपका नाइट शिफ्ट है तो डे में यू कैन रिलैक्स ऑल्सो। सो व्हाट मेड यू पुश कि मुझे गवर्नमेंट एग्जाम्स की तरफ प्रिपेयर करना है?
Yes, sir. Actually, I have lived more than 20 years of my life in rural areas. Even my job was also located in a rural area of Rajasthan. So I always had that inspiration or that aspiration to work for the rural people or to have a real interaction with the people. So that's why I chose those government jobs, for example, UPSC and NABARD, where I could have those impact in the life of rural people and agriculture. And that thing was asked in my interview also. I was asked by the chairperson that why NABARD, like what will you do as a manager in the rural area. So I said that thing, that for example the mission of the vision of NABARD is to have a fostering rural prosperity, development bank of the nation for fostering rural prosperity. So that vision was aligned with my own vision, that I can bring rural prosperity, I can help in fostering rural prosperity. So that's why I chose those exams where I can have those positive interaction, positive impact in the life of rural people.
And I think you have just mentioned, मैं आपसे ये मैं पूछने भी वाला था, because generally the engineers they used to go for either for the civil services examination that you yourself has also gone. उसके बाद सेकंड सेट ऑफ थॉट होता है कि हम अपनी कोर में ही कहीं ना कहीं या तो बड़ी एमएनसी में चल जाएंगे, जो कि वो हो सकता है, या फिर हम कोई ना कोई स्टेट सर्विसेज एग्जामिनेशंस में या आरबीआई की तरफ जाएंगे। NABARD is completely different. Looking at the profile that you have,
Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना, that also I want to ask you is because यहाँ पे एग्रीकल्चर है, और एग्रीकल्चर भी ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ टच किया है, कोर ARD 40 marks in your merit section, then in your phase 2 also you will face the questions from agriculture. When you will sit in the interview, then also you have to be thorough about the agriculture, and when you have to go to that work, then also you should be thorough about the agriculture perspectives.
Yes.
So how you transform from a product engineer, this agriculture comes to your life?
Yes, sir. Again, sir, that thing was again asked in my interview. That was the second question, that why NABARD? Why you want to do this only? Because there are three things, sir. First is, if that job is aligned with your vision or your mission. As I said, my vision was to have a positive rural prosperity, to foster rural prosperity. Second is, sir, if that job has a good incentive or good rewards, and NABARD has a good salary, they have good perks. So again, that checkbox was again ticked. Two things were checked. Third was, if that organization will have an honor, or that will be your. So I actually quoted one quote by ex-chairman J.R. Chintala sir in the interview, that NABARD finds no parallel in the world in terms of its scale, mission, vision, spirit and ethos. So I said that it would be a very honorable job for me to work in that kind of organization. So all the three checkbox, if it has a good incentive, second it is aligned with my vision, and third, if that's a very honorable job, all the three checkbox were ticked. So that's why, sir, I chose NABARD.
And I think now many students will be wondering कि शायद मैंने इनका इंटरव्यू लिया, बट ऐसा कुछ नहीं है ना, इन्होंने मुझे अपने इंटरव्यू वाले सवाल बताए हैं, वो हम डिस्कस भी करें क्या इनसे पूछा गया। बट एक चीज़ बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है जो आई थिंक यहाँ पे जब मैंने NABARD के बारे में जिक्र किया, जब मैं इनसे बात कर रहा था, ही सेड दैट मेनी पीपल फ्रॉम द एरिया वेयर ही बिलोंग्स, जैसे आपने बोला रूरल एरियाज में, वहाँ पे अभी भी बहुत लोगों को NABARD के बारे में नहीं पता। सो आई ऑल्सो वॉन्ट टू आस्क यू दिस क्वेश्चन, दैट हाउ यू केम टू नो अबाउट दिस एग्जामिनेशन, बिकॉज ईदर इट्स नॉट योर को फील्ड एज वी हैव डिस्कस, और अगर कहीं आसपास भी नहीं पता तो वो एक ऐसा एग्ज़ाम कहाँ से निकला? बिकॉज यूपीएससी जनरली मैनी पीपल नो कि हाँ यूपीएससी है, आप सिविल सर्विसेज बनोगे, एसडीएम बन जाओगे, NABARD के बारे में नहीं पता होता। तो आपको पता कैसे लगा? पहला पॉइंट तो मेरा ये है। दूसरा, जब आपको पता लगा So how you convinced your family, your friends, that you convinced yourself, okay, this is one examination which I have to target now?
Yes, sir. So I got to know about NABARD through UPSC only. I used to read that who supervise, who regulate. So that way I came to know about NABARD. Then the first thing is, sir, checking the syllabus. Every exam you are preparing, you need to check the syllabus. So I was checking the syllabus. I saw the pattern. I saw that there are 50 marks for descriptive. My English was fine. I know that I could score decent marks in English. And I checked the descriptive part. So I had the UPSC background. So I thought that okay, I can score better marks in descriptive. The only concern was objective. In that also, sir, ESI was like half doable because I have read those things in UPSC. So the only thing actually which was left was agriculture. In agriculture, I had like basic idea about basic things. So I had to know about the core things. So that's how, sir, I planned. And talking about my parents, like they were convinced, like they have not objected anything. I said that I want to prepare for NABARD, so they said okay, fine, if you want to do that.
But were they aware about this examination?
No, sir. They are still not aware. They are still very confused. What is the job role? Like when people ask them, the family people ask them, what is the role? So always they used to like take the phone and give it to me. That explain what you will do there in NABARD. So yes, sir, that was the problem.
Because I have seen somewhere that when I was discussing to him, he said कि sir बहुत ही common चीज़ पता क्या होती है? When I got selected, I told the people that I become a NABARD officer, and many people used to say कि आप शायद बैंक में ही normal बैंक पीओ लगे हो.
Yes, sir.
तो वो मैं थोड़ा सा आपसे समझना चाहता हूँ कि क्योंकि बहुत स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे हैं जो कि अभी भी शायद इस confusion में हो that NABARD might be like another bank. But what is one vision that they should have in their mind, that it's not a normal bank.
Yes,
it's
sir.
something that's bigger than a normal bank.
Yes,
that gives you greater responsibility, greater values, and that responsibilities. So what do you want to say to those candidates, specifically who does not have a clarity about this examination, specifically NABARD as an organization?
Yes, sir. So for example, it can be seen in the website only that NABARD has mostly categorized into 3 functions. Most the banks, they work on just on the financial function, but NABARD works on financial. Second is development, and in development they are covering every dimension, whether it's off-farm sector or financial inclusion or a women or even a tribal development. And the third is supervision, and they have been under the Banking Regulation Act of 1949. So they are not just doing the financial function as what most banks do. They are covering the development function, they are covering the supervision function, they are also giving the grant. Most banks do give the loans, and NABARD function on grant also. So they are covering every dimension which needed for an inclusive society. They are not just centered around financial function. So that's how NABARD is different from other banks.
And do you feel even in rural areas, because you have prepared your whole preparation in the rural area?
Yes, sir.
NABARD is working for the rural areas, but do you feel that it has a great impact there also? Because in urban areas there will be many people who knows about this organization. But I want to say, because you are from rural background, you have prepared your journey was always, we will discuss it in your hometown only. So do the people you felt that somehow that okay, this is something which inculcates you because you know the syllabus, that okay sir ये चीज़ है जो मुझे पुश कर रही है और शायद इनके लिए ही है, इसी जगह में मैं जिया भी हूँ इस चीज़ को, क्या वो लोगों को पता था उस चीज़ के बारे में? आपको लग रहा है कि पता अभी भी रूरल इंडिया को अबाउट द NABARD एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, स्पेसिफिकली विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिक्रूटमेंट पर्पस?
No, sir, awareness is like quite less if we compare this in rural areas, because NABARD don't directly functions in the rural areas. For example, if there is an FPO or if there is PACs involved, they are not directly involved. They are giving fund to a third party, for example, an NGO. For example, in my district, there is a Nidhi Samriddhi Foundation. They are providing fund to Nidhi Samriddhi Foundation, and Nidhi Samriddhi Foundation, they are providing grant to FPO members. So people are aware about Nidhi Samriddhi Foundation, but they are not aware about NABARD, because they are the first pillar, and people are aware about the second pillar, that okay, these NGOs are providing us funds. So that's why, sir, awareness is little less in rural areas, but right now they are increasing. For example, as I said, sir, we are like ambassadors of NABARD. So if one people qualify, we are helping people to make them aware about NABARD, that how NABARD functions and how it has a role in a rural area. So that's how, sir, what we say, bit by bit, whole India can cover. Like if people will qualify, they can make people aware, and that's how it will help in increasing the awareness.
And I think for that we should, guys, all of us, thanks to NABARD, because if we are creating this kind of NABARD aspirants, NABARD ambassadors, so then I think the people from rural India will come forward and they will start joining this organization, because then they will link to this specific organization. Now we have talked about this organization. Now let's talk about little bit about your preparation journey. One thing I want to ask is that you said that you started from UPSC, you shifted to State Public Service Commission, and then you have given various set of examinations, specifically regulatory bodies like RBI, SEBI, and then this final journey of NABARD.
Yes, sir.
So I first of all want that you should explain the whole journey, that how this started, because you were working also.
Yes, sir.
It's not an easy task to
Yes.
prepare for one examination, and if you could not get selected, then go for another. So how this journey happened, that how UPSC came, then how state civil services come, and then how these regulatory bodies come.
Yes, sir. Actually, I started with the UPSC only. That I will start with UPSC. Actually, before that UPSC, I started with MS. Like I thought that I will do MS in another country. So I had 3 research papers in my college only. I had 3 research papers which was published. So after that, I thought, no, I want to work in this country only. I wanted to work. I can't run from the problems. I wanted to work for this country only. So I started with UPSC preparation. Then what happens, sir, I started failing in prelims only of every exam. Like UPSC, then state PSC, I failed by 2 marks, and second I failed by 1 mark. SEBI was the first exam. Like I was just exploring that if I can qualify those exams, those banking exams in prelims, and luckily I qualified SEBI prelims. So I thought, okay, this is doable, little bit doable. At least I am qualifying prelims. If not mains or interview, at least I am qualifying prelims. So that year I failed in RBI. Like Feb was SEBI last year in 2022, and May, June was RBI. Again I failed in RBI, that too in sectional of reasoning. Then NABARD happened in August, I think 2022. I luckily qualified prelims, then I qualified mains, and failed in interview. But I found one thing, like during my journey, I was trying to explore what I can do, what are the things where I can use my knowledge. And when I qualified mains of NABARD, I thought, okay, this is something where I can use my knowledge, and I'm liking the process. So just after failing, again I started studying for NABARD only. So yes, sir. It was like love at first sight kind of thing with NABARD.
But I think you have explained in a very polite manner that, okay, I was not able to clear the prelims, in a very smiling manner, because generally we used to see these kind of students who could not clear and they take a lot of stress. But then also, if I talk about little bit about these examinations, you started for UPSC, and somehow UPSC is not an easy chunk to do. But when you have not cleared the prelims of UPSC, okay, what was the first set of mind that have come? Because when you were not clearing these examinations, UPSC, State PSC prelims was not cleared, SEBI prelims was not cleared, till the time NABARD has not come. So have you ever thought, okay, let me just take that step back and let's go for the MS, or let's not, this is not my cup of tea, because I'm close, but I'm not getting the reaching mile. Maybe शायद भगवान चाहता ही नहीं कि मैं इस चीज़ को clear करूँ.
Yes, sir. I'll be honest, yes. I thought of doing MS, that I can still go in Germany or something, but again I thought I'm running away from the problem, because if I am failing in every exam, there are problems. The biggest problem was I was not learning from my mistakes. I was making some mistake and I was still again doing it in the next exam. So after this process, I learned that I have to work on my mistakes only. I can't just run away from the problems, and I can't start everything from basic. I have to learn from my mistakes only. So yes, sir, like I had things in my mind, but I make my mind that, okay, I need to prepare for this only.
And this is what I want to ask you, because from this whole journey, as you have mentioned, that NABARD is one thing, I found that this is something my cup of tea. But again, in that cup of tea, your sugar was less, because you were being in a waiting list.
Yes.
Reached every part, reached the interviews, done everything, and even your waiting list was number 1. It's not that you are very far behind.
Yes.
So at that point of time, do you felt, okay, this is something I'm very close, and obviously यार clear हो जाएगा, number 1 waiting list और बहुत ज़्यादा दूर भी नहीं है तो हो जाएगा, या फिर आपने उस थॉट प्रोसेस पे पहले दिन ही सोच लिया था कि वेटिंग लिस्ट 1 है, शायद नहीं क्लियर होगी, मुझे पढ़ना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज दैट इज व्हाट आई वांट, दैट देयर विल बी मैनी स्टूडेंट्स हु समहाउ दिस ईयर आल्सो देयर विल बी स्टूडेंट्स हु विल बी इन वेटिंग लिस्ट, और शायद वो हमेशा यही सोचते हैं वेटिंग लिस्ट वाले तो कि यार हो जाएगा, अभी रुक जाते, अभी नहीं पढ़ना, हो जाएगा हो जाएगा हो जाएगा, और फिर वो हो जाने में पूरा टाइम निकल जाता है और फिर नेक्स्ट साइकिल आता है और वो नहीं हो रहा तो बहुत दुख होता है. तो आई वॉन्ट टू हियर फ्रॉम यू वट एक्चुअली इज द थिंग दैट इज अराउंड द माइंड ऑफ अ स्टूडेंट, स्पेसिफिकली जब वो वेटिंग लिस्ट में नंबर 1 जो आपका केस था.
Yes, sir. Actually, I remember that I used to ask those people who had qualified that how many people have joined. If there are people who have not joined, if there are chances that they would left. So yes, and like after some time, after few months, I realized that it was a time wastage because it's all about luck. There are less than 80 seats every year, and why people will left NABARD? Like why people will leave NABARD if there is no UPSC or RBI in a close by? So yes, there was a time wastage. I agree, and that's why I failed in RBI, sir, because RBI happened in July, and I was just waiting for 3-4 months just for NABARD only, that maybe people can. Because last year 3 people joined actually, one from journalist, one from land development, and third was from IT. So I was very hopeful that okay, people are joining from wait list, there could be chances that I could also join.
But आपका वेटिंग लिस्ट में नंबर 1 ही था.
Yes sir, that's why. So I was thinking okay maybe the chance will come. So yes, that was actually the mistake, and that's why I failed in RBI again. I failed again in sectional, that too in the same sectional. I failed in reasoning last year by 1.25 marks. Last year I failed by around 4 to 5 marks. So actually yes sir, that was a time wastage.
And do you consider it is as a low point of your journey also? Because when we talk about this examination, देखो UPSC में तो आपने बोला कि मैं कर रहा था, but I know कि somehow I am not that much close. But in this examination, when you are so much close, if we consider what is the low point in this journey, will you say that this was the lowest point where you have felt that अब पता नहीं यार, इतना शायद मेरे को छोड़ ही देना कि अभी एग्ज़ाम नहीं देना, लेट मी गिव दिस अ फाइनल ट्राई? वाज दिस सेंस ऑफ थॉट दैट कम्स टू योर माइंड? बिकॉज ये आएगा, तो एक लो पॉइंट था आपको लगता है जर्नी का?
Yes sir, actually just after like 7th July was my birthday, and I think 8th July was RBI prelims. So I didn't celebrate anything. I said everything that I want to prepare only for RBI. I need to prepare for RBI. And just after the exam, I knew that I am failing in reasoning or Quant. I was actually assumed that I will fail in Quant. I failed in reasoning. So actually, but I knew that I am going to fail in that exam. So that was one of the lowest point. Because in NABARD also, sir, that thought used to come across in my mind that if that one question of 1 marker, I could have solved that correctly. Because I attempted 9 question of 1 marker and all 20 question of 2 marker. So again in that my mind I was thinking that like there was one ASA worker question. I was thinking if I could have marked that question correctly, I confused in the last moment, I could have qualified, because 1.2 I missed by 1.25 marks. That means if I could have solved one marker correctly, I could have qualified. So yes sir, that was the lowest point. 9th July was one of the lowest point of my life.
And I think guys you must learn from him that मतलब एक एक नंबर की जो कीमत है ना, वो आई थिंक अब इस टाइम पे बहुत ज़्यादा समझ में आती है कि जब आप वेटिंग लिस्ट में 1 में थे, या फिर जब आप इस एग्ज़ाम में RBI आपने साथ साथ आपने बोला और आपने बोला कि नहीं हुआ, तो दैट इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ अ हार्ट ब्रेकिंग. नाउ व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट my next question to you is, because you are always one person which we can see here that you guys you should learn from him also, is that you are always keen about everything you have mentioned is about learning your mistakes. So I want to ask you that, because you have given lot of examinations, so what are the 5 mistakes that you found that this year I have to work on these mistakes? Or along with that, what are the 5 positives also that you found that these are my 5 strengths, these are my 5 weakness, and how you manage these strengths and weakness this year?
Yes sir. So if we talk about last year, I will tell you 5 problems of each section. For example, in objective, so in objective I was not very thorough with the concept. I was just reading the things, reading the lines. I was not trying to read between the lines, or I was not reading the keyword. I was missing the keyword. That was the problem which happened in objective. I didn't get very bad marks actually. I got 36.25 marks last year also, but I think that was when you miss by 1.25 marks, now you realize that okay, 1.25 or 1.5 marks, you could have improved. So I was not thorough with the concept, I was not thorough with the keyword. In English, sir, actually I had not much of practice. I was practicing in a standalone, like I was just practicing essay only, I was just practicing letter only, I was just practicing précis only. I was not practicing full length paper. And full length paper is, the practice is not just for the time. Actually the practice makes you aware about the concept and the keyword in the question. For example, last year there was one letter, and the letter it was asked that you have to write about the size issue, that there is a chair which has been brought from the shop and you have to write about the size issue. And what I had written in the exam was there was a manufacturing defect which was different from the core theme of the concept of the, and 30 marks is given for letter, 30 marks for précis, 40 for essay. So if I would have get let's say 3 marks, that was enough for me to fail. The same mistake was there in NABARD. Like in English I could not be able to find the word counter in the whole, like for the whole 1.5 hours I could not find the word counter. Many people said that it was because of luck, you had bad luck, but I said that it was my lack of awareness. I was not trying to explore or find if I could find, because in SEBI the word counter is in the right corner, in the NABARD it is in the left corner, in the bottom left corner. So I was actually searching for in the right corner. I could not find the word counter. So in the whole exam I had to write like count the words and then I have to write. I was not exploring the things. In descriptive, sir, the mistake which I did was I was not like the value addition was not that much. I got 38 marks last year, it was not bad, but the value addition was less. I was not writing about the NABARD thing. Like I could have written about something about NABARD only in that question. So I worked in those things, like in this year. My concept was clear. If I can give you examples of objective, if you may.
Yes, I will
Yes,
definitely.
sir. Actually, in objective, sir, there was one question in 2 marker that about the salt of the soil. The keyword was breakdown, right? And the option was salinization, alkalinization, solidization. So you have to think about that keyword only, breakdown. If they would have an accumulation, I could have said that okay, the answer could be alkalinization or salinization. That is the accumulation, but it was breakdown, so it has to be solidization. So I worked on the keywords, that I have to work on the keywords. The question was about the harrow. So I worked on the keyword, that okay, if the harrow is there, what has to be done, how it uproots the weeds. So I worked on the keyword. In English, sir, I was aware about everything, like I was exploring everything. For example, sir, in essay, if you know, the topic was about agriculture and technology, and you have to write 5 things, right? The question was how agriculture and technology complement each other. Now many people would have written that how technology will help in agriculture, but the question was how it complement each other. So you have to write the second way out also, that how agriculture will help in technology. For example, big data analytics, that will help in agriculture, will provide data, and that will help AI to improve itself, or it will help technology to improve itself, and that can be applied in other dimensions. So I was exploring every keyword, that if it's written complement each other, I have to write how it will complement each other. Same, sir, for later. So I have written, I have memorized each and everything, that what I have to write there, how I have to conclude. I worked on that, and I had written all the test series. For example, for EduTap, I had the silver course, so I had written 5 English descriptive. I had written all the full length, and it was not a standalone that I have to just write the essay or letter or précis. I was actually sitting in the exam time. In the morning, I used to write the English. Then in the afternoon, I used to write the objective and then descriptive. So it, like for 5 days, I completely adhere to the time limit and adhere to the time schedule of NABARD. So that was the mistake. That's how I learned from my mistake.
I think, guys, if you just listen to him, one thing that's very important here is that for those students who just thought that okay, I have not cleared the first paper, let me do it, let me give it second year, let me give it third year. आई थिंक वो साल बढ़ते रहते हैं, बट उन सालों में अगर आपने एक चीज़ पे काम किया जो इन्होंने किया, लुक एट द इन डेप्थ एनालिसिस दैट ही हैज़ डन, मतलब एक एक पॉइंट उन्होंने पकड़ा है कि क्या करना है, क्या चीज़। आई थिंक द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट यू मैंशनड इज यू काइंड ऑफ एक्सेप्ट योर मिस्टेक, बिकॉज यू हैव मैंशनड इट वेरी राइटली कि बहुत लोग सोचेंगे लक पे शायद मेरा नहीं हुआ, कि मुझे पता नहीं चला या मेरा लक बुरा था। आपने लक को लक नहीं लिया, आपने बोला चाहे वो 1 मार्क था चाहे कुछ था, बट मेहनत मुझे करनी है स्टार्टिंग से जब मुझे इस एग्ज़ाम क्लियर करना है। अब अगर वो उस मेहनत पे आते हैं, कमिंग टू दिस ईयर्स एग्जामिनेशन प्रिपरेशन, सो व्हेन यू स्टार्टेड द प्रिपरेशन योर हिट बैक वाज फॉर यू वाज आरबीआई ग्रेड बी,
यस सर,
एंड इट वाज इन द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई,
यस सर,
ठीक है, और विद इन 2 months यू हैव योर प्रीलिम्स ऑफ नाबार्ड।
यस सर।
तो उन 2 महीनों में जो आपने अपना एनालिसिस पूरा बनाया हुआ था, आपने क्या जीन जान लगाई इन 2 महीनों में कि आपके मन में क्लैरिटी था कि बस फोड़ना और कुछ नहीं करना?
Yes sir, actually like last year na, last year I didn't work on my notes. Actually if you are working on your concept for objective, or if you are working for your keyword, like I said that I was missing keyword, so if you want to work on your keyword, you have to make your own notes where you have to write that okay, solidization that means breakdown, alkalization that means accumulation. So this year like I have read both year, I have read summary sheet of NABARD for everything, for ARD. Like I had around 14 different notes on one note, and it was all copied, it was all like taken the source, primary source and secondary source, everything was EduTap only. So I had made my own notes, I worked on my own notes in that 2 months. It took around roughly around 40 days to make my own notes, around 14 topic for ARD, then for reports, for budget, for economic survey. I made everything, even for interview, for budget. Like you can't say any one topic where I have not made any notes. I have made notes for each and every topic. The primary source of that was EduTap only. Even for English I had made my notes, for letter, for presi, for that I had made my notes. I have for example letter. In letter there are 5 or 6 dimensions which are covered, like KCC or different kind of things. So I made those notes also, that if those question will come, most of them part like 30-40% will be that only. So I worked on my notes extensively this year. That was the like primary thing which I did in this gap of 2 months. Then I think sir, I had a very good peer group of members. Those people who were appeared last year, they were people who appeared in this RBI. So we made a peer group of few members, and that was one of the best thing actually which happened. Because mock interview or let's say mock test, they are to test your arsenal, but first you have to build your arsenal, and building your arsenal is happening behind that curtain, and that was in my peer group. We used to practice daily, we had made the schedule that okay, on this day that person will post the question, and we will all solve the answer. So peer group, that was one of the best thing, and notes, we worked on both the thing in that 2 months.
And I think you have just mentioned, or we will be discussing both these things here, peer groups as well as your notes being skill. But one thing I want to ask you is, because you have talked about your notes and you have talked about the keywords. Yes. So I want to ask that there will be many students who are here who just started making notes. They just took out the whole bunch of information, copying everything here and put it one way, which is like compilation of multiple sources into a single compilation.
Yes sir.
But what we can hear from you is you have not compiled.
Yes sir.
Compilation is different.
Yes sir.
Making is different. So if I say that were there kind of a scribbler notes which have been designed on your thought, on your understanding, that this is where this is a keyword, I have to work here, और इस कीवर्ड से मुझे पता है इसका आंसर ये होगा, तो आप अपने नोट्स कैसे बनाए, थोड़ा सा स्टूडेंट्स को वो जरूर समझाए. बिकॉज मैनी स्टूडेंट्स, आई कैन एश्योर, बहुत कॉमन क्वेरी आती है मुझसे भी कि सर हमने पढ़ा है, हमने नोट्स बनाए हैं, हमारे नोट्स अच्छे नहीं बने, या फिर हमारे नोट्स में क्या गलती है. आई थिंक यू विल बी द गाइडिंग पिलर फॉर दो स्टूडेंट्स कि नोट्स कैसे बनाने हैं, क्योंकि आपने 2 महीने बनाए और आपने फोड़ दिया. तो ये 2 महीने की तपस्या थोड़ा सा बताओ कैसे करनी है इनको भी.
Yes sir. So actually either if you are making online notes, you can make offline notes or online notes as per your requirement. So in online notes there are 2 things. One is OneNote, and you can make it Evernote. I used to make in OneNote because that was my habit from UPSC. What is more important is you have to type those words actually. If you are just copying or if you are just using the snipping tool and taking the screenshot of a PDF and just pasting it there, you will not be able to memorize. You have to type those things. That, for example, if let's take one example of animal husbandry, and there are different breeds, whether it's exotic or crossbreed or indigenous breed, you have to type those things. That okay, they are the 4 keywords. If there is a sickle shape, that okay, then this animal would be there. So you have to type those things. I have in my whole notes, you can't find a single screenshot or anything of the PDF. I used to write those things manually on keyboard. And I had like 14 topics for ARD. It was covering everything, like agriculture extension, animal husbandry, environment, or plant and horticulture. Then I made my notes of reports. For example, there are different reports, and they are directly asked in NABARD. For example, ACCC report or census or agriculture census of 2015, and their NAFIS report, their agriculture ministry report. So I used to make notes of those reports in just one compilation, and I used to revise it daily. And even for budget and economic survey, I had made the notes. I had made a table format where I had written everything. Like I had made a table format and written that okay, highest number of KVK Kisan Vigyan Kendras in this state, highest number of Kisan credit card in this state, highest number of FPOs in this state. What is the per capita expenditure, which state has the highest per capita income of let's say farmers or overall. So I used to make those tables and I used to make those things, and used to highlight those things. Like in online, it's a very good thing, like as done in hard copy also. You can highlight those things in soft copy in OneNote or Evernote. You can highlight those things. So I used to highlight those things. Even for schemes, I referred SchemTap extensively. For last 2 years, I am referring SchemTap. So I used to make notes of those SchemTap also. Like monthly, I used to read those SchemTap, and I used to make notes that okay, for this, like there was one column, there was mention of the one scheme, then the year was mentioned, ministry was mentioned, budget was mentioned, and I used to write all the things. And those were like important current affair. I used to highlight those with different highlight color, so that I can memorize that okay, these were the things which were in news currently. And like sir, like I had said, sir, I had actually underperformed in my notes only. Like for example, if I could have read my own notes only, I could have scored 44 to 46 marks, and I was scoring around 40 marks only. So actually I underperformed in my own notes, but luckily I cleared.
I think that's again a good thing to say, that I underperformed in my notes, because generally students used to say I underperformed looking at your notes. This is I've underperformed in my notes. But this tells us one thing, that अगर आपको बड़ा गोल लेना है और बड़ी चीज़ अचीव करनी है, तो यार तपस्या तो करनी पड़ेगी, और वो आपके सामने है कि हाउ इन डेप्थली. एंड आई थिंक वन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट यू मस्ट लर्न फ्रॉम हिम इज इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट नोट मेकिंग, it's about how you are making your notes, which is helping you, as he has created this kind of notes. अब नोट्स से आगे चलते हैं आपकी जर्नी के ऊपर. जैसे कि फेस 1 आया, अब फेस 1 के ऊपर आते हैं. आपने पूरा आर्सेनल, पूरा पीयर ग्रुप तैयार कर लिया, ठीक है जी. और अब इस पीयर ग्रुप ने, जब आप मैदान में चले, लड़ाई जंग के मैदान में फेस 1 में, तो इस पीयर ग्रुप ने और आपकी फेस 1 प्रिपरेशन में जब आप बैठे, तो क्या मेन चीज़ था जो आपको कॉन्फिडेंस दिया, इस स्पेसिफिकली इन द फेस 1, इन द मेरिट सेक्शन आई विल से फर्स्ट. नॉन मेरिट हम डिस्कस करेंगे, बट मेरिट क्योंकि आपने उस पर बहुत आर्सेनल इकट्ठा किया हुआ था. इन द मेरिट, हाउ यू फेल्ट व्हेन यू हैव सिट दिस ईयर दिस फेस 1 एग्जामिनेशन, दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एन एग्जामिनेशन वाज दिस? आपको लगा आसान है, नोट्स बना के बहुत मतलब लग रहा है कि हो ही जाएगा बड़े आराम से, या स्टिल यू हैव दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग दैट इज दैट आरबीआई हैज जस्ट गॉन 2 months बैक और पिछले साल मैं वेटिंग में हूँ, तो व्हाट वाज द सिनेरियो ऑन दैट डे?
Yes, sir, actually I was my notes was completed around 1 month before, so actually I was like able to read every topic by 10 minutes. Like the whole, I can read whole plant and horticulture in 10 minutes. So I used to revise it daily. I used to divide the static part daily, and I used to update. In merit section, sir, I was very confident actually in prelims, because like I had the silver course for the mains, and so I used to read those sections and I used to solve the question. I'd also taken the test series. It was a clarity power play test series, so I used to solve in prelims. So I used to check my rank and also. So my rank was good. I was scoring around 60 marks, 55 marks in prelims. So I was confident in that okay, I will qualify in the merit section at least. And yes, sir.
And you have just mentioned about your revisions that you have practiced a lot. Basically, you are revising your things on daily basis. You practice a lot, and there are some students who kind of take lot of tests, but still they are not able to clear this. Still they are not able to clear the examination. So, what is one source of suggestion you will give to those students that how you have to utilize this test series? Because if you are solving such a number of tests,
Yes.
obviously there will be some questions in which you will be weak. एंड यू कैन सेल्फ क्रिटिकली एनालाइज ऑल्सो कि मैंने इतने नोट्स बनाए हैं और फिर मेरे नोट्स में से पेपर नहीं आया, तो आपका क्या थॉट प्रोसेस है कि मुझे इतने मार्क्स लेने हैं, आई एम स्कोरिंग दिस मार्क्स, इट्स गुड, इफ आई एम नॉट स्कोरिंग दिस टारगेट देन ऑल्सो व्हाट शुड बी द स्टेप दैट आई हैव टू टेक?
Yes, like what I said that hardly you can solve like fully aware. You'd be around 60 to 70% of the questions. You'd be fully aware. That, okay, this is the answer of that question. And one thing what my experience of failure had said that you never fail because of difficult question. You always fail because of easy questions. When you make mistake in easy questions, you actually fail there, not because of difficult questions. Because in difficult question, there would be like 20 to 30% people will solve. But in easy question, around 70 to 80% people will solve. You can't do mistake in that area. So I used to make sure that okay, if I have no idea about a very difficult question, at least I should not make mistake in easy question. If I have less idea about the color of nucleus seed or foundation seed, which are asked every year in prelims, then that is a grave mistake. You can't do mistake in those areas. You have to work that, you have to make sure that okay, those easy parts are doable and there is no excuse that maybe we can cover up or etc. You can't make mistake. It's such an exam where competition is there, so you have to work extensively on those things. So when I used to give test series, I used to make sure that okay, I had to make those easy questions right. In difficult question, I can use my common sense. At least I can eliminate one or two options, then I can come to the conclusion that okay, this is the right answer, that is the right answer.
And I think that's a very great thing Ayush has said to you guys. आसान क्वेश्चन, मतलब ये बहुत कॉमन बहुत बड़ी बात आपने बोली है कि हमेशा मुश्किल क्वेश्चन के लिए हम भाग जाते हैं। आसान क्वेश्चन उस चक्कर में भूल ही जाते हैं कि आसान तो पहले सॉल्व करें फिर मुश्किल पे आएंगे। एंड नाउ फ्रॉम दिस मेरिट, बिकॉज यू वर सो कॉन्फिडेंट, कम्स टू द सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग विच इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ अ हिडन फेलियर ratio of NABARD aspirants,
Yes, sir.
which we generally not talk about, is the non-merit section. There are different set of questions. QRE I can still say because RB aspirants will have, but there are two topics which is somehow looking at this topics, it always seems it's a very easy topic, decision making and computer.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, but I have seen many students who always underperform there, and somehow I have seen those students also who will be watching this video also, who might feel looking at this examination, I failed in computer, and they will always be in a shock, because failure in computer is something you will never expect, you will never see कि ये हो जाएगा मेरे साथ। तो आपका क्या thought process था इन दोनों को लेके and the whole non-merit section?
So actually I was that person, what you were saying, because in prelims, in merit section, in QRE, in mains, I was confident in mains that I will qualify for interview. Even after interview, I was like, okay, at least there are 50 or there are at least 60 to 70% chance that I will clear. But I was not very sure in computer only in prelims, because I was scoring around 7 marks and the cutoff last year was 5 marks. So I was like, I'm just passing by 1 or 2 marks, and I was like, so yes sir, decision making in computer, they are they are getting very difficult. For example, and they are getting difficult according to the phase. For example, in SIFT, in SIFT 1, computer was a little bit difficult. Decision making was a little bit easy. There were few questions which could have been solved, like cognitive biasness question, or those questions like you can solve 3 questions and you can qualify. In SIFT 2, decision making was nightmare. People have no idea. Leave the answer. People had no idea about the question after the exam, that what was the question asked there. Few people have had idea, and because they have the conceptual clarity of each keyword. Again, sir, the keyword is important in decision making, that if cognitive biasness or different kind of biasness, you need to have a thought clarity that what is the exact difference between those kind of biasness. For that, you can refer a self-made example. You can make an example in your mind that, okay, this is the example of cognitive biasness. If I'm doing that thing, that is a cognitive biasness. If I'm doing that thing, that is a hinder biasness. So that way you can learn decision making. For computer, I think, sir, personally I refer 2-3 sources. Like I had seen all the videos and everything of Jalaj sir, of the PYQ session, then his 4-hour marathon session. For decision making also, I referred Jalaj sir extensively. So yes sir, computer is getting very difficult year by year.
एंड आई थिंक जो बच्चे कंप्यूटर को आसान ले रहे हैं भाई सुन लो, इतना आसान नहीं है, ठीक है ना. और कमिंग टू द सेकंड पार्ट, QRE if I say, because you have given RBI also, comparative to RBI the NABARD QRE is little bit easy, but still you have to clear the cutoff. So what was your preparation with regards to QRE? So how many hours, or I can say how many months you have given to QRE for preparing the examination?
Sir, actually the questions are very doable in NABARD. The problem is time. If you are giving too much of time in ARD and ESI, you will get, even the questions are very doable, you will get so less time in QRE section and decision making and computer. So the whole agenda of this QRE is time. You have to solve very, very fastly. So I had not done any such kind of extensive or such kind of thing, like a specific thing. I used to refer the marathon session of Vishnu sir, marathon session of Quant, marathon session of reasoning. My English was fine, so I had no issue in English. In Quant reasoning, I used to solve the questions in the marathon session of Vishnu sir. For example, he used to give the question and he used to give the time, 3 minutes for one question or 2 minutes for one question. And then I used to solve the question in that time only. Like, why to delay those things? Just solve it there only and get it done. So that way, sir, I was confident in quant reasoning that okay, I can do better there.
आई थिंक विष्णु सर हमेशा भगवान विष्णु की तरह QRE में उन्होंने बहुत लोगों को हेल्प की है, एंड ही वुड रियली बी हैप्पी टू हियर दिस फ्रॉम द एक्सपीरियंस दैट ही एवरीवन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट हिम. बट now from your phase 1, let's talk about your phase 2 examination, because as we have discussed earlier on also, you were having an experience of UPSC, you have some peer groups also who were somehow helping you also. But when I come to this year's descriptive, you were very well prepared with regards to ESI, descriptive and this thing. But still, if I talk about when you sit in the examination, how much you have prepared or how much you have done. Sitting in the examination, it's again something that you have to calm yourself down, and then you have to give the questions. So when you sit this year in the descriptive paper, what was your thought in your mind that came across? That were you so much confident, okay, ये तो आराम से हो जाएगा, or with this kind of paper, because the questions were not that easy.
Yes, sir.
It appears to be very easy paper, but this year the paper, if we talk of comparatively to 2022, the questions were a little bit tricky, the descriptive paper. So how you handle those questions?
Yes, sir. So actually the first question was the bouncer only, the extension tools, and as I said, sir, like in objective, I underperform in descriptive also in my notes. So I had made a very good notes of extension, agriculture extension, but I had no idea that these are the tools. So I had written very like kind of random things in extension, like TV, radio, projectors. After coming out of the exam, I came to know through my friends that you have to write result demonstration and farm demonstration, method demonstration. I was like, I know those things, but I had no idea. But I make sure that if there are 12 extension tools, I will write 12 extension tools. Somehow I will write something about that only. And I had little bit idea about extension, like National Mission of Agriculture Extension of 2015 and 16. Then I write about Kisan, Vigyan Kendraj and Atma. So I was writing somehow around the question. For the 3, I was very well prepared actually. For example, there was a question of rural marketing, how you can improve rural marketing. I quoted 2-3 facts, like according to the Collier's report, that there are less than 15% of markets in regulated areas, and 85% of the infrastructure, they are concentrated to only 1 or 2 commodities like potatoes and something like that. And I just said, sir, like last year I had not done that much of value addition, and so I did value addition. I had written NABARD also. For example, NABARD has a rural heart, a rural mart, Stalin mall. In that rural infrastructure question, I had written that in the solution one, that this thing can be linked to ENAM. I had written the committee, Hukumde committee. I mentioned the Hukumde committee. That Hukumde committee has said that how to link the Gramin agriculture market with APMC, like with APMC, and how we can upgrade that. So I was mentioning those things. And one thing, sir, which I missed last year was when I was writing the bullet points, or we say what we can say, like when we write the first point, then we write something, then dash, then we start writing. So actually I was missing that thing. This year I had written that thing, that too in capital, so that they get to know that okay, this is the highlighted point. Like in UPSC, how you highlight, you underline those things, but in that NABARD you can't highlight those things. So I used to write those things in capital. For example, the first part, let's say the question was rural marketing. So I read that the problem I written that there is a lack of forward and backward linkage. So I've written that thing in capital, lack of forward and backward linkage, dot, then the topic. And like sir, this time I had one special column of committees only, like around 11 committees, Hukumde committee, Swaminathan, Dalwai committee, like that, all
So
the committee and their
committee.
recommendation, yes sir. And the second was of facts, all the facts and figures. Third was of that keywords, that if the question would be there, I should have those much of keywords, farm to farm to fork, that kind of thing. So I've written all the things, lack of forward and backward linkage. They are things which we read every day, lack of forward and backward linkage, whether it's a budget or some scheme like PM Sampada scheme, forward and backward linkage, there is one sub-component. But when it comes to the actual exam, we miss those things to write those keywords. So I made those keywords in my notes only, that if the question will come, I can at least try to write 4 to 5 of those keywords in the actual answer. That will have a good impact, that okay, he has a good knowledge. I quoted budget and economic survey, like again in that infrastructure question, I had quoted that economic survey has said that 92,000 crore of loss happens annually. So because the concern was that if I am writing about some issues of the government, of NABARD, of India, I will not say that I am saying that. I will say that report has said that this is the issue. For example, the question was of demographic dividend, and the issue was that people currently the people who are graduating, they are not aware about the future jobs. So I will not write that thing myself, that people are not aware. I said that UNICEF report has said that 47% of people, they are not aware about future jobs. So if I am writing some challenges, it's better to write a report. For positive thing you can write that okay, infrastructure and that thing. But in my opinion was that if I am writing some negatives or something, I will try to cite a committee or report or something like that, so that it has a good weightage in the mind of examiner or checker.
I think that is what we say, the smart usage of the current affairs that you have done. And I think again and again, guys, he is just emphasizing on one thing, that the notes
Yes,
that he has made, you can see the depth in that notes, that how much in depth, how much understanding he has about this examination. If we come here. Now coming to this objective part of this year's examinations, the objective is again not that much easy, because generally we go with the mindset that almost 60% of paper will be from schemes.
Yes sir.
This year it's not a case like that. It was not 60% of schemes. Yes, there were questions, majority of questions on schemes, but that were not that much easy, if I say. And there was a question on primary agriculture, cooperative societies, Narega was being asked here. So your descriptive is strong. You tell that you underperformed there.
Yes sir.
So tell me one instance, I will not say elaborate, but tell me one question which you felt when you came out of the examination, the people will be feeling, oh, you have performed really well.
Yes sir.
But you yourself thought, oh, this is one question, yeah, I have written in my note.
Yes.
How came this question went wrong there?
So actually there were 2-3 questions. One was about this Kisan Vigyan Kendraj. They have asked the committee name of Kisan Vigyan Kendraj, and I thought, oh, that is so easy question of Kisan credit card. In the haste of the moment, I thought that it is Kisan credit card, and the first option was, like, they have beautifully framed the question, and the first option was R.V. Gupta committee. I thought, okay, this is the answer, R.V. Gupta committee, and I marked it. And later on I came to know it was not Kisan credit card, I think Kisan Vigyan Kendra. So okay, oh, I made that mistake. It was Ashok Mehta committee. So that was one mistake. In second was, sir, of PM Vishwakarma scheme. Like I had made the notes of PM Vishwakarma scheme. I had used ChatGPT, I used SchemeTap, I used YouTube, and I made whole notes that okay, there could be a question of PM Vishwakarma, and I marked it wrong there in the. Luckily, it was one marker only, so I was not very that. So yes, sir. Both the question actually, Kisan Vigyan Kendraj and this one, they were both of one marker. So the loss was not that severe.
But I think if it turns other way, then you
Yes.
will have something. यार ये क्या कर दी, कितनी बड़ी गलती कर दी.
I could have been preparing again for NABARD 2024.
I think that's a positive attitude to hear that I will not lose. I will still prepare for this examination.
Yes, sir.
Now let's talk about the final pillar of this whole journey, that is the interview stage. So when you go to the interview, ठीक है, as I have asked you two questions, that these two questions were being asked to you also. So what are the other prominent questions which were being asked to you, ठीक है? And I want to ask you that in this whole journey, because have you given some mock interviews? There were some questions which were in mock interviews that were being asked, and the same questions have been replicated there also, or your peer group.
Yes, sir.
How has they helped you in preparing for the interview?
Yes, sir. So actually, like I said, that if you want to check your arsenal, first you have to build your arsenal. So building this arsenal happens with peer groups, or you stand alone. You have to read, you have to make notes. So I make notes of each and every topic of our annual report. That there are all the chapters. I have made all the notes for a chairman's speech. I have made the notes. So I have made all the notes. Even for Pragati 1.0, there was one document. I made the notes again of Pragati 1.0, and I had prepared everything, every HR question, every technical question I have prepared. And there was counter. I had prepared the counter question also. That if I am saying this example, there could be one question of that. So I had like the interaction with my peer groups, especially some of the members. They used to give me feedback that like, for example, there was Preeti ma'am. She used to take my mock interview daily, actually daily 1 hour 2 hours she used to take my mock. So she said me specifically that why not you try to give examples when you are saying something. So every time I was used to explain LEDP, MEDP, SSG, FPU, I used to give one example of my state or my district. In the real interview also, they asked me climate proofing, because I have said that climate proofing in the previous answer when they asked about the priority sectors of my PLP. So I mentioned one example and said they asked, Surika ma'am asked, what is climate proofing? So luckily, sir, because I said that if I am saying anything, in my notes, every keyword has the definition. If I am saying I am writing climate smart action or climate proofing, I had made the exact keyword or exact answer, what I have said. Like I can cite it now, that it's the integration of climate adaptation and climate mitigation into infrastructure and development projects. I said that exact thing there, and I added myself that like for example, there is a Harpine system of rainwater harvesting in Bihar, where they are doing the rainwater harvesting, and how it can help in climate mitigation and climate adaptation. So that was how peer group happened. Like same way, one of my friend Nisa, she said that okay, when you are giving the intro, why not you try to say that this is your second interview, this is your second attempt as well as second interview. And I said the same thing again when they asked me about my intro. I said last point, this is my second attempt as well as my second interview. So my next question was, why you are persistent to join NABARD? Now they are like little bit impressed that okay, he is trying to go in NABARD only, that's why he appearing for the second time again. And I again had prepared all the things which I had said, my incentive, my alignment with the vision, and I using those keywords, sir. Actually I am very aligned, like this time preparation for objective, for descriptive, for English, for interview. I was very focused on keywords, that I have to focus on keywords. If I am saying my vision is aligned, I would say exact keyword, that the vision of NABARD is fostering rural prosperity, and this is my own mission also. If I am saying that it's a very honorable organization, I will use G.R. Chintala, sir, and all those keywords: scale, mission, vision, spirit, and ethos of NABARD. So I am working on keywords, and all my peer groups, they helped me to prepare my arsenal. And then I give all those mock interviews. I gave EduTap mock interviews also. I was being given recommendation that try to maintain eye contact when you are giving your interviews. I was given this specific recommendation by sir, that try to maintain eye contact and try to use less jargons. I was using very much verbiage actually in answering something. So he was trying to explain that okay, try to use little verbiage in your answers. So those peer groups helped me to build my arsenal and check my arsenal in mock interviews also. In my peer group also, they took my mock interviews also. They used to daily like sit for 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and they used to give me feedback. So peer group is very important, sir. If you have a good peer group, they will always push you, they will always motivate you to extend your preparation and do good.
And I think when I talk, where you have mentioned everything in this interview here also, but is there any incident or any question you still feel that this is one question I will never forget that has been asked to me in the interview, maybe in a funny sense, maybe in a something that you still feel that this was the one question from where I kind of felt that okay, I have cracked this year's examination somehow.
Yes, sir. Because when they asked the definition of climate proofing, when they have asked the difference between production and investment, like one question which Sayyid sir asked was the difference between production credit and investment credit. And sir, actually PYQ is important because of that only, not just for interview, for objective, for descriptive. In descriptive they have asked back-to-back question on forestry. This year they asked agroforestry. Last year also they asked social forestry. So they are asking question on forestry every year. One way or other, they are asking question on forestry. So PYQ is important in objective, in descriptive, in English, and in interview also. Because I had learned this question. It was asked to one person in 2021 exam, and it was there in a coaching. I'm forgetting there, but the question was there that what is the difference between production credit and investment credit. Now it was asked by Sayyid sir only. So I had prepared that question very extensively, that this is the difference, and he asked that what is the need. So I had prepared the keyword also, that investment credit will have a multiplied effect in the economy. Again, this was a keyword, sir. So actually worked on the keyword, that I will use that keyword. So I used that keyword, that it will have a multiplied effect in the economy. And these are the examples, the tractors and all. They are the examples of production, they are the examples of investment. So PYQ was important. They will 40% question will be about you, your HR, your company and all, and 30 to 40% next question would be about the PYQ only. There are most of the questions they have asked to someone. Like many people, I have seen this year transcript also, people have asked NCDEX, and they were like, why they have asked this question of NCDEX, but it was there in the PYQ. It was being asked to someone, that what is NCDEX, and NABARD has the share in NCDEX actually, in MCDEX and NCDEX, NABARD has the share, they have some ownership in that. So obviously they will ask that question because that was asked in PYQ. You have to read the PYQ for that. So yes sir, that's how things went. So I was very confident when I answered that question to Sayyid sir, when I answered Surekha ma'am, and actually chairman ma'am, actually she said good. After my 5 to 6 questions, she said good. So I was very confident that okay, my interview is going well. Yes sir.
And if I say, if we conclude this questions on interview, I think you have just talked to me when we were before this interview. That's a previous year I have scored around 30-35 marks in the interview, and I myself analyzed that I might have underperformed there.
Yes sir.
That because I have done really good, but I have underperformed there. This year you have maintained that thing, but after now the same question is that you have done your best.
Yes sir.
So when you came out, were you of that opinion, okay 35 से तो ज़्यादा इस बार आ गए, इस बार इससे अच्छा होगा, तो इस बार मेंस अच्छा हुआ तो ये अच्छा हो तो इस बार हो जाएगा आराम से. Was this thing that was there कि हाँ ये हो गया?
Yes sir, actually I generally don't prepare for very best actually. It's not a good thing. People generally target that okay, I will target 44 marks, 45 marks. I was if I can get 35 marks or anything above, I may qualify. So because I was getting very good marks in mains, I was in my mind that I will get good marks in mains. My objective, English and descriptive, they all went pretty good. So I was very confident in that. So in interview I was if I can get anything above 35 or anything around 35, that would be fine. So I had less mental pressure in my mind, and I was not thinking about marks and all in that after during the entrance of that interview. So yes, after interview, so yes, I thought that okay, I think this would be it.
And now, guys, when we conclude this thing, you have mentioned about EduTap that the journey has really helped you. If I say that if you just want to mention the things, the two things, and the 2 or 3 things in which you felt that EduTap has, that's one thing that's really best about us. Any 1 or 2 suggestions you want to give us that we can do better?
Suggestion part, sir, I don't think I can answer that. I can answer on the positive thing, that what are the positives. For example, a summary sheet. I don't think if you are reading summary sheet, you need anything. That should be your primary source, that should be your secondary source. Many people, what they do, they read EduTap, then they read a summary sheet of different coaching institute. That should not be done. It has covered everything. If you can read that thing, there are no chances that you will score less than 40. There are no chances. All you have to do is use your little bit of common sense and test series. What were the mistakes you are doing? So summary sheet is something like Bible of this exam. If you are reading the summary sheet, you don't need anything. And sir, yes, sir. I don't think I will be able to give suggestion.
No, I think it's fine on your end. और पहले मैं बता दूं भाई, मैंने इनको कुछ नहीं ऐसा बोला, ठीक है ना, कि it's open. But still, if you felt that any area where you felt, I'm not saying it's on a negative thought, but still you felt that this could be done better. You're doing it better, but still that thing could be done better. Any one point?
That I will need 24 hours.
Chalo ji. Now when we conclude this session, I think we have discussed everything, but one thing is always there, guys. When you have achieved a success, there is always one thing that is behind you, is your family. So we have talked about everything, and I think your parents, let's first talk about them. So what was their reaction when they came to know? You have mentioned that still they do not know what is your job profile.
Yes, sir.
But when you told them that, okay, this is what I have cleared.
Yes, sir.
So what was their initial reaction?
Yes, sir. Actually, my father, like, he had a high BP issue, and he got the high BP after the result, in that, let's say, excitement or something. So my neighbors or family, they were all calling to my parents. So their joy was like, had no bounds after my result, and it was like a very long process of the government exam. My mother actually recently, she like 1 week before the interview, 2 weeks before the interview, she lost her father. I lost my maternal grandfather, and I was very close. She was actually very close, and I was actually the same way. I was very close. So she was doing both things, like crying as well as being happy after the result. So it was like a emotional turmoil, emotional, that kind of thing. Yes, sir. They were like very happy.
And I think you have just talked about your maternal grandfather. Somehow you always say that if you have a tribute to a member of your family, which we will say that you say that this is my journey that I owe to that person.
Yes, sir.
So will that be your grandfather or because how was your relation with him? I just wanted to conclude it on that thing, because the journey is really good, but what do you feel that how was your relation with him, and how you felt that he might have felt?
Yes, actually, like just before the interview, like after the mains, when I cleared mains, I called him and I had said that I cleared the mains, and I will be officer, and I will take you to my vehicle, and we will roam, and I will call you to my office. You have to come to Lucknow or something. So he was like very happy after my mains result, and like this happened 2 weeks before. I still remember that I had one mock interview, and he called me, and I was like clueless, and I said, I was like crying literally in the call that this thing happened, sir. I can't give the mock interview. And it happened like 10 days before my actual interview. My actual interview was on 1st February, and it happened 2 weeks before. So it was like a very shocking moment. But I said to my ma, to my nani, to my grandmother, that give me some time. Let me go to house, to go to my home. Ma will be there, Papa will be there. I came back, and somehow again, sir, my peer groups again, sir, they somehow managed me to, like, they used to call me every time. They used to, even when they are in job, everyone were in job. Some of them were in IFSCA, some of them were in IRDI, some of them in SBI. So they used to call me and they used to ask me that, are you fine? And you have to read. I will ask question in the evening and I will ask question in the night. They used to like self-allocate their time in them, that okay, first you will ask question, then you will ask question. And they pulled me mentally, they pulled me emotionally, that okay, take it as a something which you can offer him, that okay, this is for him. So yes sir, this is something which was for him.
I think that's a beautiful journey that you have lived, and I think wherever your maternal grandfather will be, he will be very, very happy on you.
Yes.
Now, when we at the time of conclusion, let's say, so what are the two, or I can say some three things specifically you want to tell to the future aspirants that they must do? It's not that they should do, that they must do if they have to clear this examination, because you have gone from a waiting list to the clearing candidate now. So what are the things you want to share with them?
Yes sir, so first thing I would say is to make your own notes, if you can, because this is something which is very underrated. People generally do avoid making notes, citing job or something like that. I can't make notes because I'm not very user friendly. I can't make notes because I have a job. So I think you have to make notes of descriptive, objective. Even for interview, you have to make notes. Even for English, you have to make notes. Second is to learn from your mistakes and from tests. You need to give tests according to the time, and you can't just give a standalone question. For example, in English, you have to write essay, you have to write letter, précis. Try to give them as a full-length paper. That way, you can learn to manage your time. Because last year they asked 300 word question in essay. This year they asked 500. For letter also, it was 100 marks extra, 100 word extra. So there could be some kind of surprise like that. If you're not managing your time, if you're writing standalone answer for 300 word, there could be an issue in managing your time. But so you have to learn from your mistakes. And third is these two things. And third, I would say, sir, like I said, you can't make easy question wrong. Try to minimize that thing. You can't make easy questions wrong. People never get failed because of difficult question. Everyone fails in difficult question. Less than 20% or 10% people will know. It's not just applicable to objective, it's applicable to descriptive as well as interview. They would be the topper. I don't know who will be the topper, but if you will ask him in the interview, he would have answered 2 to 3 questions. No, I don't know, sir. That is completely okay. It's not an issue. The issue is you can't make mistake in easy question. If he's asking about vision of NABARD or vision of NABARD or about tribal development, you must have little bit of knowledge or good knowledge about that thing. So these are things which I think, sir, a candidate should work.
I think, guys, this is all about this session. So he has really elaborated his journey here. He has told you that what are the ups and downs he has failed, his journey from the waiting list candidate to the final candidate. And I hope that majority of you who are preparing for this examination in a very serious mode, there are some issues which you might also be facing, and Ayush has helped you on that. So on that note, guys, I wish Ayush all the best for becoming the NABARD Grade A officer. And is there any, if I can end this thing on this question, is there anything that's next on a track?
Right now, no, sir. I just want to explore that what are the work, what are the department I will get in NABARD, and then I can plan further. Right now, no.
So we'll stay tuned for that also.
Yes, sir.
So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Ayush, for giving your time.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.